It's your favorite agent, and today, if you're a current homeowner or you're currently looking to buy a house, that I would highly recommend that you consider and think about. There's two sides to the coin. So, like, when you think about a real estate agent, you need to think about is you have the buyer side and the seller side, okay? And so some advice I would give to a buyer would be completely different than I would give to a seller, for example. And so right now, as the market shifts from a seller's market to a buyer's market, there's some things that I wanted to point out. So, like, for example, if you were trying to sell your house, and for people that are maybe not understanding why their house isn't selling, okay, and this is why it's no longer a seller's market. If you're questioning why your house is not selling, that's an indicator that it's not a seller's market. It's a buyer's market. And so, been running to a lot of people. I done had some listing presentations that I lost, several of them that I lost, because, like, my thought, my theory, I don't want to lead you to believe something that I couldn't deliver on. The signs. The signs point to certain things, and if you follow this stuff religiously for real, like, you'll understand that if you're questioning why your house isn't selling, it's because it's not a seller's market. It's a current buyer's market. Right now, you're looking at about a 6.1 to 6.5 FHA fixed, VA 5 to 5.4%, conventional about a 5.4 interest rate. You can certainly buy down those rates now. And that's stellar credit. If you don't have stellar credit, you can look for a 7, 8% rate, maybe even 9. Remember, FHA and conventional, you do have to come with money down. 3.5% for FHA, conventional about 20%. But some of them are able to get you done for a little less than 20%. But you can expect about a 20% if you're new to the game. In the Central Texas, again, we're talking Bell County, Coryell, Kempner, Cove, Killeen, Belton, Salado, Temple, Harker Heights, Nolanville, that area. The average house days on market pre-pandemic, you would have a house 26 days was the longest you'd see a house on the market. 26 days. Now you're looking at 74 days minimum on market. Okay, that's a big jump in the number of days that your house will sit on market. Again, those are key indicators that it is no longer a seller's market. It's definitely a buyer's market. Your house will sit now, but the difference is, though, the buyers are not being able to take advantage of the market swing because of these interest rates. You look at those things, some more indicators, okay, in the our multi-listing system. It shows that there are 2,701 homes that are currently on the market, and 637 of those homes have recently been decreased in price. 27 of those homes are new listings. The reason why these things are important is because you got to look at why the market seller, buyer, okay? So the market is indicating it's a buyer's market, not a seller's market, okay? So now we talk about how does a seller sell their home in a buyer's market, okay? How does a seller sell their home in a buyer's market? Because you got competition, okay? You got other resellers. You got new homes, okay? And so those things are key factors in why does it take a certain number of days to sell your house? Why is it on the market? How does it go from 26 to 54 days to 74 days to 113 days? In the MLS right now, there is a property listed, 2023 build, has been on the market for 1,099 days. 1,099 days. Right behind it, 962 days. So you question these 2023. These people that built these homes. These are 2 new builds. Okay, these people that built these homes, were they trying to take advantage of the market? Let's just say it that way nicely, or people, but were they trying to take advantage of the market? Okay, and then there's again 2 sides of the coin. So if they were trying to take advantage of the market, and that's why their property is still listed. And the funny part, one of these properties, okay, these are my notes. One of these properties, I actually tried to sell this property. The 1,099, I tried to sell that property. I texted my brother this morning. I said, man, brother, you wouldn't believe it. I'm doing this video about buyer seller, how long houses, just a little market update video. And I did a search to see the longest property on the market. And man, believe it or not, we looked at this house. He said, oh my God, that house is still on the market? Dang. I said, yeah, man, believe it or not. But anyway, the things that I wanted to point out, because man, trying to sell a house, I had buyers, okay? We put offers on 2 properties. And the sellers weren't able to sell because they wanted too much for the property. And of course, I'm not going to recommend my client pay too much for the property. I didn't even recommend they buy that property in the first place, but it's not my responsibility to make somebody do something. That's what they wanted, cool. The deal didn't end up working, but guess what? It wasn't because they didn't accept our offer. It was because the sellers needed us to, they couldn't take a VA loan. They needed an FHA loan. They needed a conventional loan because they knew that their property would not appraise. They knew their property wouldn't appraise. So look and see how long ago they bought the property. Back there in 2021. Back there in 2022. At the down of the pandemic, they was one of them fish that you just, oh, got one more. Oh shit, got one more. Like, they was one of them, okay? And now here it is, 2.5, 3 years later, they get orders. And this is the problem. What I just said, they get orders. So in Central Texas, majority of our buyers and sellers are associated with the military in some way or fashion. They're retired, they're active, but this is about these active duty military people, because this is the trend that I've noticed and I'm having a hard time dealing with, because these are our soldiers. These are our soldiers. And if it was someone else, it'd be different. But this is like, hey, when I tell you it's time to PCS, you got to go. When I tell you it's time to deploy, we out of here. When I tell you that it's time to go, you have to go. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. There's no, now is not a financial good time. You got to get up out of here. You've got to go. We're going to talk about 2 things at the same time. Hopefully you can keep up. And we're going to start with 2022, okay? When you look in the MLS, when you look and see properties buying and selling, okay? When you look, there's 105 houses available in the MLS. 105 listings, 2022 bills, 2022. Within those listings, 2 to 541 days on market. 2 to 541 days, with the average home being on the market 130 days plus. In 3 years, houses from the 2022 time frame, in the last 3 years have closed. 10 of them have closed, with 583 days being the longest on market, okay? That had a list price of $425,000. It had a list price of $425,000. sold for $370,000 with $7,500 in concessions. That's $55,000 off the original list price, straight off the rip. $55,000, 425 to 370, $55,000 plus $7,500 in concessions, plus $22,000 in commissions, $22,000 plus dollars in commissions that had to be paid. In 2022, there's built houses, year-built houses. 76 have been withdrawn in the last 3 days off the market. 2023. There's 54 listed in the MLS, with 2023 bills being 10 days to 1,099 days on market. Okay. They've had two houses built in 2023 close, with 54 sold, and again in 2022 105 2022 builds. 2023 54 sold. Okay. 2022, keep in mind, that's the end of the pandemic. 2022, that's the end of the pandemic. These are still new built houses that nobody's lived in. This one between, again, the 10 to 1,099 days on market, there's new builds in these. Okay. There's only been two resales of 2023 built homes in those areas that I named: Salado, Belton, Temple, Killeen, Harker Heights, Nolanville, Kentner, Coppers Cove. There's only been two 2023 built homes in 2025 been sold. Okay. Here's one of the best deals that I found. One of them was, in the average home in the 2023 build. Okay, and this is how you can tell when it's the end. 330 plus days on market. That's how you can tell it's the end of that seller's market. It's starting to correct itself, because it goes like this. So it's going to start to correct itself. $525,000 down to $492,000. $33,000 off the list price. And this, again, is a new build that was sold and was on the market for 930 days. This is the example I'm using because I want you to understand that in 2025, this house just closed September 4th. They just closed on this 930-day on the market property. This is one of the two that have been sold in the last 3 years. They just closed on this property that had a original list price of $525,000 down to $492,000. That's $33,000 off the list price. Okay. They also gave $6,313 in concessions and paid a commission of $15,000 because, again, this was a new build. So they don't have to pay one agent. In Killeen, the average house in 2023 to 2022 new builds were 356 days on market and 139 in the last 3 years. Okay. The average, so that means like this 2023 build, okay, the days on market continue to roll up. All right. There's several 2023 builds that are still brand new homes. There's a few 2022 builds that are brand new homes that haven't been sold. There's still 2024 builds that are brand new homes that haven't been sold. Let's move on to 2024. There's 117, and I'm telling you, if you stick around long enough, this shit's gonna get scary. There's 117 listings, 2024 currently. 5 to 822 days on market. 45 have been sold. 45 have been sold. There's been 117 listings, 45 that have been sold, okay, in the last 3 years. So that means from 2023, when these homes were being built, being classified as 2024 to current, okay? And again, so that means these 2024s in the last 2 years. 301 days on market is the one that's been on the longest. Now, again, if you stick around long enough, this shit's about to get scary. In 2024, new build, I'm not gonna say the builder, $284,900. And after I go through this, I'm gonna talk about something else that, again, when it's not a seller's market, you gotta deal with the buyer's market that involved you when you purchase your property. Okay, it could be 10 years from now. Whatever that buyer's market was, you better keep in mind what it was when you purchased your property, because I promise you it has a cause and effect no matter how long down the road when you choose to go sell your property. You got to keep both aspects in mind. You can't be blinded to that fact. Anyway, this new build home, $284,900. 200, and there's again 117 active listings still for 2024 homes. And 45 2024 homes have been sold in the last 3 years. Again, with 2024, because I did a search for the last 2 years. So the 2024, well, I did a search for the last 2 years, and then I was interested in 2022, so I went back to 2022. But anyway, I did a search for the last 4 years, okay, to see how many homes were sold. And again, 45. So that means in 2 years, they've sold 45 new build homes of 2024 year build, okay? And again, this stuff is going to become very forthcoming and apparent, like scary, in my opinion, because you start to have to ask yourself, what are these soldiers going to do? $284,900. This house sold for $259,000. That's $25,000 off the list price. They also included $10,000 in concessions. $10,000 in concessions, and still paid $7,800 in commissions to the agent. If I took $284,900 minus all of that incentive, which is $43,000, that means I would have bought the home for $241,900. And this builder was offering at the time 2.9, 3.9, 4.9 for 1 year, 2 year, 3 year fixed, 4 year throughout, 4.9 throughout the rest of your loan. That was part of their incentives, and they were still giving $43,000. Let's look at 2025. 520 new home listings. 2024, 117. 2023, 54. 2022, 105. And that 520 active listings for 2025 is what made me say, what? Let me do some more research. Okay. And then we go to 2024 and we jump up from 2 in 2023. As of right now this year, we're at 112 closed. 112 new homes closed and 520 listings. Okay. Let me see if I can just look something else up real quick here, unless I closed out of it. No, I didn't. We have 520 homes currently listed, 112 currently sold, okay? So again, you have to take that alone and say, OMG, when have they ever built homes like this around here? New homes. When have they ever done it? So if you're a seller and you're wondering why you can't compete, if you bought your home in 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, and you're a soldier and you can't get out this property because you don't understand your options, even if you're not a soldier. But this primarily spurred because I say, dang, man, nobody can tell me I got to get up and go. If I said, hey, I can't afford it right now because I can't sell my house, if they really want me, they're going to work with me. But a soldier has to go. They have to bite the bullet and go. They have to bite the bullet and go. You know, they have protective clauses, breaking leases, automotive, on credit cards, on several things. But they don't got nothing that's going to protect against this, because it's a whole nother thing. The feds, like Donald Trump right now, the feds are not moving on the rates. The rates, they did just do a little something, but something drastic has to be done. Because, again, these new home builders in my area, Saratoga, Stylecraft, D.R. Horton, are primarily the main ones. They are offering 4.5, 4.9, like I said. And I sold a few of them, 2.9, 3.9, 4.9. But the people I sold them to were people that are going to be here. They weren't soldiers. Recently, when I've been showing houses to clients, and it's been soldiers, and they always like, hey, you know, it's like they're on the verge of foreclosing. This has to be a short sale because we know the house won't appraise. That's why the deal fell through the last time. But they owe more than the house is worth, and blah, 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 blah. Because again, in my area, a lot of soldiers, a lot of people that are associated with the military, they don't listen. They listen to the wrong people. They listen to their battles, who have no clue. They just going from the grapevine, telling you what you heard from the grapevine. They don't got a damn clue. But you'll listen to them because, you know, that's who you're told you're supposed to listen to. But a lot of times they're issuing out bad advice, like telling you to buy houses when the housing market and boom is going like this. No, now's the time to rent. Don't fall for the trap, the cheese. It's fake cheese. It's not even the real cheese. Even if you get a bite before the trap comes down, pow. You know, if you go for that fake cheese, you're just gonna have a piece of nothing in your mouth. But if you go for that real cheese, you're at least gonna have a little bit of cheese in your mouth while you die slow. That's that plastic fake cheese bait. Don't even, if you go for that, you got to be kidding me. But that's not what they've been told. And so now they thought, oh, we're investing and building our portfolio and this is the time and blah, 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 blah. And that was a lie. You got to think about it. 2.9, 3.9, 4.9. I did one of those last year. Couple of them. I got 4.95, 4.9, 4.5, 5.75, 5.25 done this year. All on incentives. That's new builders are offering. But see, again, there's a catch-22 because there's two sides to the coin. This property, 284.9, sold for 259. Okay, that 10,000 in concessions, that 7,800 in commissions, that price off the list price. Well, if you had a house that was built in 2011 and you wanted to go sell it right now for $284,000, that's what it was worth. Your 2011 built house is worth $284,000, for example, right now. How are you going to sell it? How are you going to sell it when these new builders who used to build, who used to list 100 homes, because if they list 100 homes, they're not selling 100 homes that year. That means the next year, some of those 2000 builds are still going to be available in 2001. Just like now, you got some 2003 builds that are still available as new homes in 2025, and they'll probably still be available as new build homes in 2026 because nobody's lived in them. They've only been floor planned. They've never been sold. So if I'm going to try to sell my house how can I compete with these new builders? And like this one, 2025. Again, we had 112 closing this year. Okay, listed for $290,000, sold for $283,500. They paid $6,500 in commissions, and they paid $20,000 in concessions. And this was on the market for 134 days. And so again, the new builders got to play both sides of the coin, because if I was to build this house and say it was worth $290,000, then I sold it to someone for $290,000, made them a deal, sold it to them for $285,000, let's just say, or in this case $283,000. Let's just go with $283,000 because of number sakes. Okay, so again, I built the home and I made you a deal, sold you the home for $283,000. But when the next person came along, I didn't make them as good of a deal, and I sold them for $285,000. I still made them a deal, okay? And the next person came along, I sold it for $285,000. I made the next person, because you was my friend, so I made you a little bit better of a deal. I knew you from association, okay? Now, 2 years later, and I still got an inventory, floor plan of homes that haven't sold. If I go to sell that home for $260,000, say like, you know what? I just got to get this home off my books. It's killing me. It's got to go. Hey, go list it for $260,000. I could be liable because I've been selling these houses for $285,000 or $283,000. I've been listing them for $290,000. If my houses weren't worth nowhere near $290,000 to begin with, why am I selling them for $290,000? If I sell someone this house for $260,000 and you paid me $283,000 because you was my friend, well, I still put you in the hole $23,000, and that's illegal. That's not right. That goes against real estate law, because I can justify giving a little here, giving a little there, okay, but I can't justify giving an egregious amount, because again, there's other people that I sold my properties to. Now, how do they get away with it? Well, I'll sell it for $283,000 to make it fair to you, but instead, I'm still going to give them $20,000 in concessions. Well, did I sell the home for less than market value? No, I didn't. But did I give an incentive to purchase my house right now of $20,000? Abso-freaking-lutely. And that's, again, how can you compete with that? Because you just bought this house 2 years ago. There's no way in HE double hockey sticks that you got $20,000 of concessions to give away, plus pay a commission. Let me just do the math real quick on the commission for $283,500 times 0.03 plus $8,500 in commissions. You don't have that in 2 years of owning this property. You don't have that. So how, if you're a soldier and you're PCS out of here, even if you're a civilian and you just want to leave, how do you do it? So, that's why I wanted to make this video today. Hopefully, you think about what I'm talking about. If you're a buyer, absolutely the greatest time to buy a house, a new build house. Especially for the next 10, 15. But if you're a seller, like, be prepared to sit on that house. Be prepared to sit on that house. Be prepared to have to short sell your house, renegotiate with your lender, see if they'll take a short on your property, because they've already made their money time and time again. See if foreclosures, get ready. But see, this is going to affect the soldiers in my area, and that's where I have the problem, because they don't have a choice. When it's time to go, it's time to go for those guys, for those ladies and gentlemen. When it's time to go, they gotta go. They don't have a choice. And like, I just know a couple of soldiers that called me, and just from association, from, I coach, I'm here in the community, They move here, they get involved in different organizations and stuff like that, and I meet a few, and they call me and say, "Oh man, I just got orders to PC." It's crazy because they got orders. They've been here for almost 4 years. Well, I'd say 3.5. And like 4 months ago, they got orders, and then right before they left, those orders got canceled, and now they just got orders again. So it's like, dang. But that's why I couldn't do that life. I never wanted to. Like, my thing is, I wanted to be here for my kids 24/7 because that's the lifestyle I grew up in, and I longed for my mom, and my dad wasn't even there. So, like living with my aunts and uncles, and while my mom went to the field and did all that stuff, like, I wanted to be present every day for mine. And so seeing these soldiers that have no clue what they got themselves into, trying to get up out of it, and it's not working. They don't understand. They have no clue. So I'm really hoping that the government comes out, because once this starts spilling over, and if you soldiers, you just gotta understand creative selling and marketing. If you're a soldier and you've been, or even a civilian, and you've been trying to sell your house and it hasn't been working, I've lost listings. I've had listing presentations that I lost because people think I'm crazy when I'm talking the truth. They think I'm stupid when you don't do this every day. I wake up, it's 10 o'clock in the morning. I've been up since 7 a.m. on this. Took my kids to school. Got back home by 7:15. Actually, I've been on this since 5:45 this morning when I woke up. Because my daughter's banging on the door. It's time to brush her teeth, get ready for school. So I was like, man, I was thinking about this yesterday. Been thinking about it for the last few days, trying to get my thoughts together on what I want to make, sense of. And because again, a while ago, I thought about this stuff, and I'm like, dang, man, this could be how the soldier's going to get out of this one. How a civilian's going to get out of it. But see, a civilian can turn down a job and say, shoot, I can't go. A soldier got to go. They ain't got no choice. So, that's where this spurred from. Even when they retire, they shouldn't have to retire and stick around here if they don't want to retire and go back home after putting 20 years in. Let them go. But don't try to hurt them on the way out. Don't try to ruin their financial future on 20 years because they have no clue and they listen to the wrong people trying to tell them what to do. So, I'm not going to disclose my strategies on here, okay? But if you are in that position where you're trying to get out of your house and you need somebody that can really guide you down a path to success, definitely reach out to me. I want to help people who want to understand the surrealness of this all. Okay. Again, these are just my thoughts. I could be wrong. I could be way wrong, but I don't think I am. I don't think I am. Okay, but I could be, based off of what I see. Don't look like it. Really feel like, man, I'm heading down the right path. The trajectory is there. Do I agree with it? No. Can I do something about it? I can only help those who want to get helped. Anyway, this is your favorite agent. Hey, I just wanted to get on here and give a little market update. I appreciate your time if you made it through to the end. If you have any questions, you or someone you may know may need some help buying or selling, even renting, meaning property management, keep your favorite agent in mind. This is what I'm here for. This is what I do.